For decades, Collin County became the symbol of Texas prosperity, million-dollar homes, country club lawns, and one of the fastest growing populations in America. But behind that green facade, the laws governing who gets water and who doesn't are about to turn this boomtown paradise into the stage for a crisis years in the making. What happens when the richest suburbs, built on promises of endless growth, discover that in Texas, even wealth cannot change what is coming next? Every week, more than 1,000 new residents set down roots in Collin County. The population has soared past 1 million, climbing by 36% since 2010. That pace makes it the third fastest growing county in the country, outpacing some entire states in annual arrivals. Median household income now tops 6 figures, and developers race to keep up, carving new subdivisions out of former cattle pastures. Streets stretch for miles, lined with stone facades and sprawling driveways. In neighborhoods like Frisco and Prosper, the American dream takes the shape of 2-story homes, backyard pools, and emerald lawns that stay green through the Texas summer. This prosperity depends on a steady, invisible supply, water piped in from lakes and reservoirs miles away. Unlike West Texas, where groundwater from the Ogallala Aquifer sustains small towns, North Texas suburbs rely almost entirely on surface water. The Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex Region C draws 89% of its supply from rivers and man-made lakes. Every new home, every business park, every retail center adds to the demand. Lawn sprinklers run before dawn, fountains bubble in gated communities, and golf courses remain lush even as temperatures climb. The expectation has always been that more water will arrive as needed, but the system was designed for a different era, when 1 million fewer people lived here, and drought was a distant memory. As the county grows, so does the pressure on every reservoir, every pipeline, and every legal promise made about who gets water when supplies run short. Drought is not a distant threat in North Texas. In the early 1950s, rainfall nearly vanished for 7 years. Reservoirs across the region dried to cracked mud, and Dallas, then a city of just 600,000, scrambled for solutions. Engineers proposed an emergency pipeline to the Red River, racing against time to keep water flowing to homes and businesses. The drought ended, but the memory faded as new suburbs rose and lawns returned to green. Half a century later, the region faced another test. In 2005 and 2006, a stubborn dry spell drained lakes to record lows. The North Texas Municipal Water District, serving about 1.6 million people at the time, warned that supplies were running thin. For weeks, officials tracked every inch of rainfall, every gallon used. Conservation measures went into effect, and city parks turned brown. The crisis passed, but not by much. Had the drought dragged on just a little longer, taps in some communities could have run dry. These moments were warnings, not just weather events. Each time the region dodged disaster through emergency engineering and strict rationing. Yet as new homes multiplied and the population soared, the lesson was often ignored. The water system, built for a smaller, slower-growing Texas, has never been truly tested by another drought of record. The question is not if scarcity will return, but how many people will be at risk when it does. Texas water law is a study in contradiction. For surface water, meaning rivers, lakes, and reservoirs, the state claims ownership. Water rights are distributed by date, with the oldest users first in line when drought arrives. If supplies run short, junior permit holders are cut off, no matter how many people or businesses rely on those taps. For groundwater, the rule of capture governs. Landowners can pump as much as they want from beneath their property, even if that pumping drains an aquifer that feeds a nearby river or lake. There is no statewide limit, and neighbors left dry have little recourse. These two systems were never designed to work together, yet in North Texas, their collision is unavoidable. About 1/3 of the water flowing in local rivers during dry spells starts as groundwater. When one landowner drills deeper and pumps harder, the river base flow shrinks, and surface users with junior rights can lose access overnight. The legal firewall between surface water and groundwater means that even as surface water is rationed by law, groundwater can be depleted with no warning or penalty. Population growth and changing lifestyles only magnify the problem. In Collin County, where lawns stretch for blocks and summer heat lingers for months, outdoor watering soaks up nearly 1/3 of total municipal demand. New industries add pressure. Data centers, attracted by cheap land and reliable electricity, require millions of gallons each year to keep servers cool. As the region's thirst grows, every drop is pulled from a system governed by laws written for a different era, one that never imagined a suburb of 1 million people or a server farm the size of a football field. The result is a legal paradox. The more North Texas grows, the more vulnerable its richest communities become to the next drought, not just from nature, but from the statutes themselves. The numbers don't add up for North Texas's water future. Statewide, the price tag to build, repair, and expand water infrastructure now stands at $154 billion over the next 50 years. That figure covers everything from new reservoirs and pipelines to fixing pipes that leak away millions of gallons each day. For the North Texas Municipal Water District alone, the current slate of projects carries a $10 billion cost, more than the region's entire annual school budget. Lawmakers approved $20 billion in state bonds, to be spent over 2 decades, but even that is a fraction of what is needed. Experts describe the funding as a down payment, not a solution. Local budgets are stretched thin. Cities face tough choices, raise water rates, delay repairs, or gamble that the next drought will not arrive before new supplies come online. Some communities already operate on the edge. In Josephine, officials recently warned residents that their system had less than 6 months of water left. Emergency spending can patch holes for a season, but it cannot replace the scale of investment required. Bois d'Arc Lake, the first new major lake built in Texas in 3 decades, was meant to be a turning point. It cost more than $1.6 billion, displacing ranches and farmland in the process. But even before the last construction crews left, planners acknowledged its limits. Projected demand will outpace supply within years, not decades. Each new subdivision, each business park, each data center brings the region closer to the edge. Without a massive infusion of resources, service cuts and rationing are not a distant threat. They are the next chapter. Robert Mace, a water policy expert at Texas State University, points to a hidden drain on supply. The average Texas household loses more than 50 gallons of water each day to leaks, enough to fill a bathtub, wasted before it ever reaches a faucet. He warns that aging pipes and ignored maintenance bleed away millions of gallons across North Texas, compounding the region's vulnerability. Jeremy Mazur from the Texas 2036 Policy Group describes a public on edge. Recent polling shows that more than 4 out of 5 Texans worry their communities could run short in the coming years. The Texas Water Development Board's latest models echo those fears. If a severe drought arrives by 2030, the state could be short nearly 5 million acre-feet, forcing water managers to cut off entire neighborhoods under existing law. For many, the next shortage is not a distant risk, but a looming reality. Water rates in North Texas have climbed to $3.69 per 1,000 gallons, with no guarantee they will stop there. The cost of keeping lawns green and businesses running is rising faster than most residents expected. Statewide, projections warn that failure to act could erase 1 million Texas jobs by 2070, as water scarcity forces companies and families to look elsewhere. The future branches in 3 directions: a painful but possible adaptation, a slow decline where only the wealthy secure reliable water, or a legal breakdown that leaves entire neighborhoods dry. The next move, whether to invest, conserve, or risk collapse, will shape the fate of the region. Texas now faces a reckoning. Water law, written for a different century, collides with explosive growth, and with a hotter, drier climate. Even the wealthiest zip codes cannot legislate rain. In the end, prosperity without water is just a mirage. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.